show to people watching at home to really realize how important this is. But our map, which one we're going to be going on today, please, for the coastline. A map with actual colors on it. That's great. I like colors. I like crayons as well. There you go. Coastline is in. Talon had last dibs on that, and they removed Consulate Fort. I don't know if they got confused to Consulate Coastline, but then again, Jess, your points on this? That makes sense?
Look, the only stats I really have here to bring back is the last time they played it against Cyclops, they lost. I'm not entirely sure whether or not that was just Cyclops in their peak, really. They 2-0'd them. That was the mini-major. Not really sure how to analyze that, given they didn't play well at the mini-major at all, really. So it was 7-4. They were closer on other maps. I don't know if this map really favors them against an unknown quantity.
Yeah, and on the other side for Talon, they've banned it like against every single team in the competition. Like, unless a team has banned it away, Scars banned it away against them a couple of times. We have literally not seen them play this game outside of tournaments away from the main APAC North stage. So this is exciting. They've won it once, they've lost it once against a couple of other teams, but not here in APAC North. This is a, dare I say, a world first, as if it's really something worth glamorizing to that level, but it is quite literally a world first.
Okay, let's take a look at what people thought about this game. Social media is up at R6 Esports APAC. You can go and vote in all the games. 81% to Guts, 19 to Talon. I think people are kind of underestimating Talon a bit, but we'll see more when we bring in all the Talon team here to have a quick chat about this game. Please, Gio, Dav, join us. Why don't you? Here you go. Gio, what did you go for in this game? You went for Guts, same as me. Please, can you explain your reasoning?
I think really Talon's performance last week made me feel a bit more apprehensive about predicting them this time round, mostly to do with how they went against Scars. Obviously, long-time rivalry. Talon had only ever lost to them one time before, and it was the first game they'd ever played together. So for them to then lose to them on Oregon last week, that was a huge blow, and they're going to have to earn my trust again.
James, do you have something witty to say?
I got some interesting things. So, yeah, I mean, I put this in the chat, in our Discord chat. Guts has only ever played Coastline versus Japanese teams. Talon has only ever played Coastline against Korean teams, and that was mostly during the Korean Open, and Guts in all kinds of things. They did lose it to Cyclops in the August Major. What I find interesting is Guts actually taking us to Coastline in the first place, because it has been their insta-ban for Stage 1, and it's their most banned map overall. But I think it's a good choice from them, because Talon lost this in the Korean Open to a team called Busan, which is the one with Hedy and Katsang, former Cloud9 players on it. So I think this is probably a pretty weak map for Talon, and they probably weren't expecting it to come out.
All right, let's throw it over then to you guys for our game. Korean team, geocasting it. Who would have thought that would be a thing? James, please.
We're an APAC.
In general, the whole region. Wow, geocasting the regions he's working on? Crazy, isn't it? Crazy how nature does that. Dev, please enjoy Coastline.
Dev, I love how he's like, geocasting a Korean game? Well, or Korean team. There are three Korean teams in this region, so I'm gonna have to do it at some point.
Statistically pretty likely if you're doing half the matches, right? And half the matches are gonna have Korean teams in them.
Well, that's exactly it.
This should be a good game. One thing that really excites me is these guys have never played each other. In fact, they've never played teams from other countries on this map in an official. So all the stops are going to be pulled out here.
Yeah, I mean, I was just having a look. You mentioned how Talon have only played it against Korean teams. The furthest back I could find was in the Korea Open Championship. So not even the Korea Open back in December, January did they play it, but they played it against Scars. They beat them 7-4. And then you mentioned, of course, they've played it in the more recent Korean Open. Slightly different names.
That's a very confusing naming difference there. The little, just the N at the end. But yeah, hey, Talon has played a few times. They also beat a team called Faust on it in the Korean Open Summer. If I'm adding the N unnecessarily, my apologies. But they lost it to Cloud9. So they also lost it to Axiomatic way back in the Challenger League, actually, from Season 11. So Talon, for me, things are inconclusive, and the most recent result was that smacking that Busan gave them just a month ago. Which was a 7-2 for Busan. So I'm a bit scared here for Talon. I think Guts do have the advantage here, in particular because, as I said, it's the most banned map, and Talon probably weren't expecting or preparing for Coastline. So I feel like Guts are holding all the cards right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's also interesting seeing the bans so far because Talon went for a Nomad straight away, which isn't what we saw them ban when they played against Scars on this. They went for the Dockerby and Valkyrie. Valkyrie's obviously not going to be an option given that Guts have gone straight in for that. So they have one more option here. But it suggests that they've obviously had a lot more time to develop had their playstyle and know where their weaknesses are, and I think that'll be able to boost their defense somewhat. But it's actually going to be Pulse who is the last one to go.
Yeah, sticking on Talon for a moment, in the most recent games they played on Coastline, admittedly it's not very many games, one in August, one in July, they were banning Hibana and Maestro for both of those matches, and of course they left both of those in. I think the Hibana ban being foregone makes sense to me because of Ace in the mix. He's basically just better Hibana when it comes to opening up those billiards wall from the donut outside, so kind of nullifies a Hibana ban. There's no point unless you can ban both of them, and you're forced to bring some kind of wall denial on the defensive side. But yeah, that Pulse ban does change the landscape a little bit. No Pulse, no Valkyrie means that vertical C4s are much less prevalent. You can play an operator like Malusi in tandem with some kind of info on site, bulletproof camera or what have you, try and get that C4 plantinal. But yeah, it just dictates the way that this is going to be played a little bit.
I really like that 6-pick from Crazy Papillon. He flirted with the IQ, but has actually switched over to Ace. So you mentioned how Ace can obviously be incredibly useful when attacking onto this site specifically, because you see where Tomorrow is on the screen, on the pink wall. That quadruple wall you can open up with...
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, are we enemies now?
Oh, no. All right, that's fine. Your team in terror, that's okay. I appreciate it. I'm team Pink.
Oh, is this a thing? Okay.
Yeah, they had an argument on stream once. It was hilarious. I loved it.
Okay, well, I'm going to stick with Pink, but you do your wrong way. That's fine as well. But it's particularly vulnerable to those long-range hard breaches. That's obviously why Hibana has been such a popular ban on this site, or on this map rather, for such a long time. So Ace sneaking in there without Talon knowing could be a big, make a big crack in their armor.
110%. And since we didn't really touch on Guts' own operator bans, Monty and Valkyrie, actually, they're standard bans on this map. They've been doing it since way back. Talon have leveraged the Monty before, and Valkyrie enables some aggression. And I think it's a smart ban, especially with the Nomad taken out by Talon, which enables aggression from the defenders. But for now, Guts have taken control beneath that hookah bomb site through Sunrise, and that's imperative. Euro will eventually begin to use the skeleton key to unlock those vertical angles through the floor and start to pressure, flush those players out of that bomb site.
That could definitely be huge. And obviously being able to play the buck vertically from below, it's one of the few times you'll actually see the buck be played. This is interesting positioning here from TMW on the dock. He's obviously ready and waiting to see if there is anybody going to be positioning themselves on the roof. He's actually trying to get an angle in through Sunrise at this point, but he will of course have the opportunity to look up should he want to, but instead he's going to retreat back into the lobby.
The thing that quite frankly sucks about defending Coastline these days is how impossible it is to find anywhere safe to sit as a defender. When you've got someone repelling the double window, as Crazy just did, to take out Tomorrow in the bomb site, when you can open up the floor in hookah from Sunrise downstairs, the floor in the billiards bomb site, or as you call it, pink, or drinks, or cocktail, from below in blue bar, or you can ace open the billiards wall as long as you get those mute jammers off. There is just nowhere safe to sit. That's why Talon is playing so loosely right now, why we see so many roamers downstairs, because it is basically impossible to just pick a position and play in it as a defender because of how much utility and angles that the attackers can generate. And this is why I expect this to be a defender-sided game, so any rounds Talon can get here will significantly help that.
Losing the Capital on the side of Guts, so now we've had a 1-for-1 and it's a 4 versus 4 remaining, as it sounds like those walls are getting opened. Labyrinth is sitting here very patiently on the Cool Vibe stairs. He's gonna nearly get flashed out, and there's the opportunity taken, but it doesn't work. PMW does get a kill for himself, but Labyrinth going down. That's huge onto Yura, and very quickly does Talon clean things up. We said we were concerned, but actually, pretty good round for them.
Yeah, I really feel like Talon had no right winning that game. Oh, that round, I should say. In particular, feels bad F in chat for Yura, who fat-fingered cams when trying to push up the stairs. There is no way Yura deliberately wanted to get on his observation tool. There's absolutely no reason he would do that in such an exposed position. A good job from Yura to refrag his teammate who was injured. That was Lily pushing up the blue stairs. But yeah, I feel like Talon, or rather Guts, maybe could have leveraged their advantageous positions on the attacking a bit more successfully. Like I mentioned, Talon tried to counter the nature of Coastline and that it's really hard to find somewhere safe to play as a defender by roaming a lot. But we noticed all the players were actually back on site with 1 minute left. And I think if you're looking for an example of how to really dominate Coastline on the attack, you need to go and watch that Fnatic game against Cyclops that we saw just last week, where Fnatic completely manhandled Cyclops. And the way that they did it was they shut down aggression by holding really passive angles and cutting off rotations, be it from the roof or from taking small amounts of map control. And they just exposed defender positions and forced the defenders to run into the angles that they are holding. And they absolutely dominated. And that's why Coastline is so attacker-sided. And I think that's the thing that Guts kind of failed to do in that round just past. In fact, I'm going to bring up the win rates for the defense. From last stage, from stage 1, Coastline was played 9 times. Overall, 32% defensive win rate. That's 68% in favor of the attackers. That is night and day compared to every other map in the pool.
It's pretty insane. I think also we have to, give credit to the fact that Talon, over the course of their time in competitive Rainbow Six, they've made huge strides in their ability to play the roam game. You said it's very important to obviously be able to get back onto site with enough time. They've always kind of naturally had relatively good anchors and always had to work on the roam. And Egg, who is their ex-player who got replaced by Soldier, he was always really involved in that. And obviously Soldier, really, they've been looking to bring a lot of that roaming prowess. And obviously on the Melusi, it's something we will continue to be doing. As Derry mentioned in the pre-game, he is a player who's going to have to pick it up in this game if he is to prove his value to the team.
On that roam, as you mentioned, and Light, the player to contest. We saw a bullet hole created from Soldier to peek into Hookah, but Light takes a gamble. I think that drone had cleared out the position already. Soldier is spotted, though, over in Aqua. PMW as well may get caught off guard, but somehow manages to win the fight. Excuse me? They traded directly after that, but Guts manages to convert a few more kills. I mean, by all rights, Guts should be 5v2 right now, but thanks to a crazy salvage from PMW and now Labyrinth, Talon are fighting back.
Yeah, Light did take 2 to the grave with him, but obviously wasn't completely fortuitous for them. A 3 versus 2. Labyrinth and Soldier remaining. You see Labyrinth just looking around. He has both the mirror windows at his disposal right next to him, but actually the plant is going to begin to go down as Crazy Papillon takes the opportunity. All alone on the site, and he's concealed by the smoke, but it looks like it's going to be way too late for Talon to do much about it. Straight out of the window. Labyrinth takes the opportunity. They know there's still 2 attackers somewhere around, and that could be Soldier's job because they'll have to go in for the disable at some point. Shu is injured, and Lily takes a lot of damage in that engagement. Is it going to be finished off? It quite possibly could be here, as Labyrinth secures another kill for himself. Shu is just crawling himself into the lobby, but he can't do anything. And Talon should have no issues being able to disable this and take a second round for themselves.
And not only a second round on the board for Talon, but a second defense that I really don't feel like they should have won. Credit to Talon on that retake, really well played. In particular, Labyrinth jumping out that double window. He's so lucky that there was no Claymore underneath it, which I guess could have been brought by Light or Shu, but they just didn't place it there. But yeah, 2 versus 3 retake, finding that first pick, and then players a bit disconnected. Credit to Talon, especially after Guts were in a 4 versus 2 really early on in that rounds. And yeah, I preface this with this game saying that Guts should be in the advantage here. Like, this has been their insta ban for a long time. Talon don't have the greatest results on Coastline. If you look at the Korean Open matches that they've played over the last even 6 months or longer, and Guts, they don't have great results either, but I'd say it's a damn sight better than Talon's, and Guts are the ones that would have been bringing this out from left field, with Talon unexpecting. But yeah, Guts looking a bit disorganized, a bit dysfunctional. They're not managing to convert their advantages that they seem to be gaining. And, well, Talon have really capitalized upon that.
Okay, there's that jump out again. Just slightly too late to be able to catch off that player while he's planning the diffuser. And interestingly, Talon have opted to bring the Warden this time, who should play as a counter to the smokes that are available on the side of Guts. Because obviously you have smokes in the hands of Crazy Papillon, but also the Capitão can use them himself.
Blue Bar and Sunrise taken now for this third objective. Talon, they really can be happy right now. Honestly, if Talon lose the rest of their defenses, that's still even better than par for the course. I mentioned it's nearly 70% attacker win rate on this map. If they lose every defense from now, that's a 60% win rate, or 40% win rate rather on the defense, which is better. Oh, you know, shush, yeah, all right. Some of us have maths degrees, some of us don't. I fall in the latter category. Well, physics, maths, same difference.
All right, well, that's why you don't have a degree in physics or maths. Well, but you do make a good point, though. You know, Talon are doing better. They're doing better than Cyclops were against Fnatic. And, you know, Cyclops, pretty good team. And obviously Talon, after having quite a difficult first week, they're really going to be looking to bring it back. And there's the start as Tomorrow gets that opening kill straight onto Yura. That denies the Buck the opportunity to open up the holes and make any kind of vertical angles that Guts could have used to their advantage.
These drones that Tomorrow's been taking out and seeing at his feet, one drone actually managed to escape through the drone hole at 90, and he didn't even manage to shoot it, but Yura still lost that fight. And it's a bit of a concern for Guts. This is just fundamentals, really. This isn't anything particularly crazy special. That's just the drone spotted the Roma, and the entry and the drone were not synced, and they were not able to find that kill. By all rights, Yura should have won that fight onto Tomorrow, but Tomorrow just wide swung it and landed the shot. And now Talon looking to be firmly in control of this game, on their defense no less. We really need to see Guts stepping it up.
Seems to be the story that by all rights Guts should do X, Y, and Z, but so far they've struggled to do so in this round as the first Toxic Bait canister comes out from the smoke, trying to protect the site as he's sat there with very little health. As the second just ready and waiting, but it doesn't look like any players from Guts will be coming that way. Crazy Papillon won't be coming from anywhere as he's taken down by Soldier. The Light gets some revenge.
Another example of where there was a drone on that player, but they still lost the opening frag. Yes, there was a refrag, but Guts, they could be in a better position than they are currently. The smoke comes through, Warden's already taken out, so the glass is not able to be effective there. Tomorrow's got this great angle. He actually drops down into courtyard, but covered by Light. Now at 3 versus 2, Guts might have salvaged this one indeed. It's only Labyrinth left in a 1 versus 3, and Guts cross all their T's, dot all their I's, and they managed to come away with their first attack round.
Yeah, very good start here for Guts, or at least a good round here for Guts, who, as you say, needed some kind of swing in the momentum so that they knew they were still in the game, especially while on their attacking half. So as Talon opt to go back to the first site in Hookah, which they really took without much exertion, are Guts going to be ready for that and to right the wrongs that happened last time?
What I really want to see is Guts just bring the Thatcher. Just Thatcher out those mute jammers on what I call the drinks walls, what you call the pink walls. And then just
pink.
use Ace to open it all up. Yeah, but there are drinks there, mate, and there's a lot of pink on this map.
There's drinks everywhere in this map.
That's
Have
a
you
great
seen
point.
the map? There's drinks in basically every room.
I think we can agree that we are both flawed in our logic. And the thing with calls, right?
Pink.
All right, that's a stubborn Geo for you. Yes, can you go to the Sunrise bar, please? And
Sunrise
can
has
Geo
a name. It's
please
Sunrise.
tell me what color that is. So what color is that right there?
I agree, it's pink, but it has a different name.
Oh,
it's Sunrise. But you could also call that drinks, because look what's behind the bar there, Dev. Drinks!
Wow. Wow, look, let's just agree that a good
Can we
call
also go
out
into
is it...
kitchen, VIP?
Oh, shut up,
hookah?
easy.
We could also go into aqua, as there's drinks in there as well. There's
Yeah,
drinks
well,
everywhere.
That is the
Dev.
cocktail bar.
Pick
It's
one.
the cocktail bar shortened to drinks. So what I'm getting at is that a good call is one that everyone agrees on. Doesn't necessarily have to be the objectively best corresponding to what's on the map. It's what everyone agrees on. And currently you can see that both of our callouts do not fulfill that criteria. What I was going to get at is Guts could just bring a Thatcher, remove the mute jammers on the drinks walls, and then completely open it with Ace's Selmas. Now, they could not bring a Thatcher, just clear out the util, the mute jammers from below, but they're going to have to deal with these roamers. And I feel like just go with the easiest point of ingress, because I feel like there are some superfluous operators in this lineup, like the Capital, for example, that Guts don't necessarily need and aren't necessarily fulfilling to their maximum potential.
Very true. They do have to fulfill the maximum potential if they want to win. That's generally the name of the game, as Yura's going to jump on into Mudroom. It's actually called Pool House, right? Is that the official name for it? I just know it as Mudroom. Well, anyway, either way, he could end up getting caught out, as Guts are being pretty slow and patient, but a good first kill. Actually, a second one being added on as well, and right now it looks like Guts are actually speeding ahead in terms of getting the relevant kills, and you can see the members of Talon just racing back up to the site so that they're all together and all ready for this push.
There were 3 roaming below for Talon. PMW was one of them. I don't quite know exactly where BD died, but that's a smoke player. Typically would be at Vars or the top of the blue stairs. And strange to see smoke picked off so early, but this just concedes so much map control to Guts. And you'd think they'd be able to capitalize. PMW, though, aggressively looks away at the wrong time, taken out by Yura. Yura hasn't even needed to push in and try and make a play yet, but Labyrinth jumps straight outside. Surely Yura's aware. No idea. This is going to be a freebie. And there you go, another kill, but now in a 1 versus 3, ace up or kick.
Perfect opportunity for Light to start getting the defuse down, as it puts Labyrinth in a nigh on impossible situation. He's waiting for at the top of Cool Vibes, and Lily collects that kill. Another round on the board for Guts, and at this point, should Talon be worried?
Yeah, that round just like spiraled in like 2 seconds. I honestly was kind of just setting up that, you have mid-round expectations. And then end of round was upon us. And yep, once again, Guts managed to overwhelm the bomb site. They ended up going for an aqua push. I really like that. And I think Guts did read into Talon's play style there. The fact that they managed to pick off those roamers so successfully. And Buck was just playing passive, right? A lot of players, I think, would get ahead of themselves and think, okay, I'm the Buck player. My job is to open up the roof of Sunrise, the floor into Hookah, and displace those players in the bomb site. But since Talon are playing so aggressively and so roam heavy, what's more important than me opening those holes is making sure that I don't get picked off trying to open those holes. So he played passive. He held an angle from what you called mudroom. There's no really good call for that room. I know a lot of people call it towels or sauna is what I call it. And he managed to find 2 picks from that position, eventually traded, but Guts, once they had found those openings, they took out quite critically the smoke player as well. That would be typically delaying that execute, and they executed from the aqua side, and I think that was the right pick. Really nice stuff from the end of it, and yeah, Talon just going to keep on moving bomb sites. Since they've lost 2, they'll just move on to kitchen.
I mean, I think it's a good thing that they continue to move on. It's the same rotation that they started the map with, as kitchen was where they went in round 2. And of course, remember the infamous jump out that occurred at the end, because no one was on site to deny the plant. In fact, it was just all completely quiet, completely desolate, as the ace, it must have been Crazy Papillon, just sat in his own cloud of smoke. Just no rush. Put the diffuser down, and suddenly you've got someone jumping on your head from out of the penthouse window. Probably not a series of events that's going to repeat itself in this round, and Talon have proven in the last 2 rounds that they need to remain exceptionally vigilant if they aren't to be outread by Guts in this second half of the first half. So, the second quarter, I guess.
Talon actually have a really nice setup on this bomb site. The idea here is that you hold vertical control, particularly in penthouse. You can deny that default plant on the service door, which is what they tried to do last time. They actually have 2 mirrors in theater facing towards penthouse and guitar to hold that. Thank you, Easy. That's Labyrinth to hold. He actually has holes into lobby as well. And just underneath the big window, there are holes that go all the way down to that default plant spot. But last time, Talon weren't aware the plant was going down, so Labyrinth couldn't use those holes. And it looks like Guts are actually bypassing this this penthouse hole this time around. They're pushing from the west side, and PMW is their main point of contention once again. Soldier to support as well. We've seen the Mozzie Pests already have a bit of an impact, slowing down these drones from Guts, and not a lot of progress for the attack thus far, I will say.
PMW, a player who Derry mentioned at the start, has been the highest rated player on both of the games that Talon have played in this stage so far. So to have him be the player that you meet at first when you make your push in through Hookah, in theory, should be something to fear. And there you go. He's ready just in case anyone were to come up the stairs or in through the site. But in fact, he's going to be rotating around through Aqua. And that's going to give Yura some more space should he decide to move in through the window of Hookah.
I really like this from Guts. They're going for a Sunrise take instead, which typically would mean you're going to execute into Kitchen, but the problem is how much extra ground the attackers have to take for that push. We noticed that Light was contesting into lobby. Players in lobby can actually deny entrance through the kitchen door, so I can't quite see the outline of which player that is, but that's going to be really impactful. Also, we noticed Labyrinth had some holes in VIP, and if he's not addressed, he can deny vertically as well, but Tomorrow finally shut down. That's lobby. Nothing to worry about. Good push from Lily, but what's this? Guts have just executed into sight, and Labyrinth hasn't been able to use the vertical holes.
Yeah, they're straight in, and Light's ready and waiting, holding the angle should any of the defenders want to move in and defend, which of course they are. That shot's not quite going to land as PMW's ready and waiting. There we go. One straight out onto Lily. He checked the service door. No one there, but it's a backwards and forwards and just 2 remaining here on Talon. They have to go up against 4 players, make that 3, but time is running out if they want to be able to get rid of the diffuser. Okay, a 2 versus 2. Suddenly things are very even, and it's Soldier and PMW playing and working together. But as I say that, they're taken down. Guts take yet another round, cleaning up the mistakes that were made from round 2.
Yeah, they really dismantled that hold from Talon, and that's the second time that Guts has been able to move into sight when there are vertical holes from Labyrinth above, but Labyrinth just wasn't watching them at the time. I didn't quite see exactly what happened when Guts just yeeted straight through that kitchen door, but I very definitely saw Labyrinth earlier in the round in VIP with holes looking directly onto that doorway, and clearly wasn't watching those holes at the time. Now, I don't know whether Guts was pressuring him and he was distracted, but judging by where the Guts players were positioned, one outside kitchen window, one outside lobby, and the rest pushing from Sunrise, I don't believe there was anyone actually pushing Labyrinth to distract him. So Talon struggling a little bit with denying Guts access to the site, and in fact, that's the 4th round in a row that Guts have been able to plant. Keep in mind that Talon was successful on a retake in that first time that Guts was able to plant on this kitchen bomb site, but not since.
And obviously they've decided to return to the same site, and this is the first time that they've actually done that. Obviously, it seems that, you know, judging by the 2 times that they've come to kitchen, while they were able to do a successful retake on round 2, Guts keep being able to get in and begin the plant while Talon are all elsewhere.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, I think that the really reassuring thing for me for Guts, and it's funny because 3 rounds ago, I was praising Talon and saying, wow, they're in such an advantage position. They've won 2 defenses already on Coastline. They're really well poised for this game. Well, Guts has recomposed really well. But the fact that they've shown 2 very different attacks onto this bomb site shows that they have depth of strategy and shows that they're not just one trick and that Talon can't just, you know, hard counter that. For example, that round just gone by, we saw Guts go for a very successful Sunrise take into kitchen. Oh no, PMW just barely finds Light. And wow, okay, that's a nice way to kick things off. Leisman's such an impactful player for Guts.
Yeah, PMW is not taking any of this anymore from Guts. He's decided he's had enough. So it's a good start there. Yura's already made his way into VIP with Soldier just outside. And Labyrinth once again holding on as the mirror in theater with both, I believe, both the mirror windows looking into Penthouse. Yeah, there you go. So he has both of them at his disposal.
Yeah, it's the same strat as last time, but this time Yura's actually decided to take VIP. This is the first for Guts, but he needs to watch his flank as well. because Labyrinth may well try and push up. Or 2 players are pushing, but he might find this first kill. Guts are falling apart. I think they got a little bit overzealous, and surely this peek works out. No, Labyrinth steals it away, and now Crazy Papillon, diffuser in hand, is the last player for Guts.
We did see him actually attempt to go in for the plant, but he halted it. And now he's going to find himself in a situation where it's very difficult to restart that because he's all on his own. No one else from his team is around the map to deal with any of the threat that could come in from the defenders. And of course, there's 3 of them still standing. Likelihood is Labyrinth is still upstairs. There he is. And there's a ping as well. So after this door got opened into the lobby, he knows that there is a chance Crazy Papillon could be around. And of course, he can still watch the service entrance too. 53 seconds remaining, so there's a decent amount of time, but only a limited number of things that you can do with it.
Highlighted before the game was Crazy Papillon by the guys on the desk. Player who's been standing out for Guts time and time again. A big player all throughout last season. A lot of impactful plays. AK in hand as well. One of the best guns and a lot of utility. But against 3 players, yeah, not going to happen. PMW been on fire tonight. Starts off that round with a bang. Thanks to that aggressive peek through Sunrise window and closes it just as easily.
He was right there ready and waiting. And I want to throw back to a point that you were making earlier, and that is the fact that ending the first half of Coastline on your defensive half at 3-3 is actually not too shabby a place to be. So Talon... now coming into their attack, should be feeling good about that. However, the thing you have to bear in mind is that Guts oftentimes look a lot better on their defense, as have Talon in the past as well. So Guts, in theory, could be going over to their better side now. We've seen the way they play defense. They have a very patient play style. They won't rush into anything. They won't feel pressured. We know that someone like Lily, who is going to be playing the Jaeger, so won't have this available to him right now, but we know someone like Lily, very good with the C4s. They're very good at that vertical play, and that could be something that pressures Talon significantly, that the so-called attacker's advantage on Coastline is kind of hindered.
I do wonder how this will pan out for Talon now that they're on the attacking side. As you mentioned, should be an advantage. It's hard to read into some of the previous games we've seen these teams play on this map because of how sparse those matches have been. Like Guts, for example, 17 bans in the history, and the time they played it most recently was against Cyclops in the Major, and they lost at 7-4. In that game, they won 2 rounds of defense and 2 rounds of attack. And I think overall they were just a bit outclassed by Cyclops, but yeah, they were a bit more successful on their defense than on their attack, actually. They lost 4 attack rounds out of the 6 that they played. So I do definitely feel like Talon have the advantage here, but time will tell. Let's have a look at this defensive kitchen service. Similar kind of thought process here from Guts as to what we saw from Talon, just with a different operator lineup. There's a roam on the west side. This is Light, soloing in Sunrise at the moment. Lily as well in Office. So it's just what Talon was doing, but 1 floor downstairs, as opposed to being in Aqua and Hookah. And we also see Crazy Papillon playing in Penthouse, which is where we saw Labyrinth playing as the mirror on the defense. So similar kind of team positioning, but different operator lineup to support that.
I mean, you also have Yura over towards Hookah as well. I think that's where he was on the Vigil. So they have many corners of this map covered. There we go. So he's right there ready from the balcony. And obviously bringing Lion means Talon have the E1D available to them. And that's going to help them get Yura.
Ooh, wow.
There's that Vigil gone. Actually, I suspect that it didn't help him get Yura because he was using his gadget at the same time. And he was pretty aggressively peeking out onto the balcony, so it's likely he just got caught out in the open. But either way, the point is he's down.
Yeah, good show from Guts to shut down that aggression, especially with Nomad banned, which is what Talon banned. It does telegraph that Talon want to play quite aggressively. What is that pre-fire? Good night, Crazy Papillon. Talon look to be firmly in control of this round and starting to shape up for a service execute with still 1 E1D in the bank for PMW. Only problem here is Talon is running out of info gathering, running out of drones, but they're in such a good position and with so much time that they could kind of just play passive, wait for Guts to overextend.
I mean, they may be running out of info gathering. Ooh, just caught the very outline there, but Lily won't be securing anything. They may be running out of info gathering, but Guts are running out of denial. They are limited on the number of smokes they have. The goo mines are no longer there once the Legion got taken down. And as time starts ticking, that's something that they would likely want to be relying upon. Now, obviously, those Banshees will still be out in the open somewhere, as there goes the penultimate Toxic Babe canister. Talon beginning to run out of time and will have to make a push at some point, but they do have the man advantage.
The only hope for Guts here is that Talon start to slip up. Shu's in such a good position, very aggressive, and he might be able to catch someone off. He needs to win this fight. This is a critical moment, and he does. The E1D goes off, and that enables the trade from BD. 9 seconds left. This is a desperate and late push from Talon after such an early advantage, and Light doesn't want to have any of it. Lily traded out. It's all on Light, a player who stepped up massively, but all he needs to do is deny the plant. What was that? Why would you fall off the diffuser? I don't understand, but somehow that round was just thrown away by BD.
That was completely in Talon's hands, and they let it slip away, as you said. The fact they left it so late to even go in for the plant when they knew they had such an advantage. They had players who could watch BD's flank. They had people who could provide that support even before Light was the last one remaining on the side of Guts, but it just seemed like Talon were somewhat scared. I'm not really sure, but the point is they made that mistake at the end, and that's going to significantly hurt them because that round was in their hands.
I'm still trying to figure out what happened there because I cannot think of any reason why BD would have pulled off that defuse. I'm pretty sure it was still a 2v1. He had at least one teammate to cover him. And even if he doesn't have a teammate to cover him, right? Even if you're in a 1v1 and you're planning that diffuser at 0 seconds, you have two options, right? You get off the diffuser and you guarantee that you lose, or you hold it down and hope that maybe you can win. You may hope that maybe you have enough time and the player doesn't manage to kill you and you can get off the defuse and win the round. Yeah, so I have absolutely no idea what just happened. I've was talking in chat with the analysts. Des reckons it was a 3v1 and he came off. Maybe his finger slipped, says Fluke. I have honestly no idea.
You know when you get kind of sweaty and nervous and your finger just slips because the friction's not there anymore? I don't know, man.
That's actually horrendous. I don't like to roast teams, but Talon, you've been doing so good this game. But what was that? I mean, is that going to be a tilter for them? Is that going to have spiral effects? Because they need to cop some of these attacks.
Potentially. I mean, they're obviously going to be annoyed about it. Whether or not that affects their performance going forward is a different story. It's a different story because they know that that round should have been theirs, and now they've got to come in and attack onto Sunrise and Blue and not let it affect them. And Crazy Papillon very far forward as he's throwing in the first smoke pretty early.
Incredibly early. First 30 seconds of a round and Smoke's already used one of the gas. That tells me that Guts are very cautious of some kind of rush or aggressive play. It's the only reason you would use it so early. But Talon, there's so much time to deal with. Whoa, no, whiff from the first spray, but Life finds it on the second. Tomorrow, though, lucky to get away with his life and eventually does punish. There's the trade to come through. E1D directly on the back of that to ensure that Guts can't try and get another refrag.
So there's a first bump of aggression. Question is, when's the second one going to come in? Euro was taken out very early in that last round, and that meant the Vigil was no longer at the disposal of Guts. But he continues to persist right now. There's the second E1D as BD gets a kill for himself onto Crazy Pappy. And once again, the smoke. But Lily was ready and waiting. Tomorrow, your entry player taken down. Okay, and now things continue to be evened out. But Lily's going to take a lot of damage, but he cleans up that kill. And now suddenly things look dire for Talon.
4 versus 2, everything looked grand for Talon, and then Lily just finds one kill, retakes Hookah, and finds another. That is huge. No more E1Ds left for PMW. PMW and Labyrinth have been the standout players for Talon this match. And they'll need to step it up once again here as Guts support them on the back foot. PMW sneaking in from Kitchen, gets a nice one-tap onto Euro. Labyrinth to cover. from Sunrise into a plant position, and he's going to stick it. Lily already has such a big impact. Can he continue?
Well, he's been waiting on the staircase. Is he going to move down? There goes the C4 from Shu. Not to find anyone, but the disable, or the defuse rather, has been secured. That's a great shot onto Lily from PMW, and he gets a second. Talon make up for the problems of the last round as they take round 8. And clearly, it didn't tilt them enough to hold them back.
Yeah, I really thought that round had shifted tides when Lily got that 2K. But like I was saying, you really can't count out PMW. PMW's had such an insane game. Labyrinth also been doing pretty well. Struggled a bit on some occasions playing the mirror, but PMW in particular has been stepping up hugely, and he knew the exact position that he had to play to enable that plant to go down. It was just so perfect. Pushing from kitchen, not only was he enabled to sneak up on the player behind the bar, get that one tap, but also perfectly covering his teammate, holding that long angle with the ACOG. No need to reload as well with the V308, 51 rounds in the magazine. And Talon, well, they've evened up the scoreline. I still think they're in the advantage here as they are on attack, but Guts have shown that anything can happen.
It's a good way of putting it. I think that's just the APAC way at this point, but obviously both of these teams have quite a lot to prove. They're both the teams of their respective region that came in with quite a lot of hope and have yet to prove themselves against their countrymen, against their counterparts. If they can prove themselves against one another, then at least they can say something about where they stand, as neither of these teams are terrible. They're not sat right at the bottom of the standings, but they're still going to be fighting for the mid-table as all the teams around them continue to improve. And the fact that they are even right now says a lot about what the skill level is in that part of the table. It says a lot about the fact there is no one definitive winner in this sense. Unless one of them goes off on a tear for the rest of the rounds from now on and secures themselves a 7-4, we know that they're relatively evenly matched.
That's definitely what the scoreline indicates here. And Talon, well, they've been on a spat of really poor games. Losing out in the Korean Open semi-final to Busan, and then losing so far every single game against Giants and Scars in the APAC North Stage 2. Guts on the flip side, they looked a bit rough against Cloud9, but came back against Electrify, and we had a lot of good things to say about Guts in Stage 1, and we're expecting that they could probably continue that form. Talon has definitely shown here that they're not to be underestimated, and I really feel like overall, Talon has looked like the better team. Guts, some of these rounds, they've kind of been gifted, or they've had really big impact plays, or that really weird one where BD just got off the diffuser. So I feel like Talon is winning this game, despite that even scoreboard. But I think if Guts can recompose and start playing like how we saw them in Stage 1, they can definitely not only win this game, but to put them back into a position not only to make top 6 for the major, but to continue being a dominating force and a team to be feared in APAC North.
Well, as Talon get ready to push in through Aqua here, they have to be aware of Lily, who has moved back, but he was in luggage not too far away. And Guts are going to be set up and waiting for this push in. But you mentioned it, James, how Talon have had seemingly a better game.
Wow.
Tomorrow, starting things off in this round to continue on that tradition. And actually, that's going to be Shu falling as well. Okay, this is a good start from the Korean team. Light's going to be opening up another line of sight for himself with the impact, but so far not seeing anybody.
Still roamers at large, but Lily has been the impact player for Guts, not only today, but also a shining star in Stage 2 thus far. We'll need to see other players from Guts step up right now. You're very aware that there might be drones on his flank. You saw one on 90, but it wasn't lit up, so we knew it hadn't spotted him. Tomorrow's super aware of this flank, and effectively, Yura is locked out of having an impact on this round. Talon have the manpower that they can just commit to watching these flank with players, and there's no more gas left thanks to Shu getting picked early. Yura has to go large here.
He's just checking the corners. He's somewhat concerned that he's going to get caught out here. And you say he has to go large. That has to include some kind of confidence, some kind of bravado, because that's all he has left as the diffuser starts to go down and there's fewer than 10 seconds remaining. Light kicks things off, getting the kill onto Soldier, but Yura can't close things out onto BD, taken down himself. And now it's a post-plant situation for Guts Gaming with just 2 players left. PMW on the roof, and he's watching out for those angles, knows he could catch someone out, just like Crazy Papillon caught out Labyrinth. And there you go, the kill onto Light. Now just the mute remaining with just a sliver of HP. 1 player injured on Talon, but there's plenty left to get the kill. And that's what BD does, bringing Talon into the lead.
I was so scared there for Talon. I really thought Yura was going to hit that flank just in time. And if he had been, what, half a second earlier, he would have probably taken out that first player covering the diffuser planter and taken out the diffuser planter themselves. And that 100% would have spelled the round for Guts. But Talon, with that really early man advantage, 5 versus 3 with 1:10 left. I mean, that's not super early, but it's definitely significant having 1:10 to execute with 1 roamer trapped off site. And especially because Shu was one of the players picked off early, that's just smoke gone, really means that that 1:10 is actually 1:10 of execute time rather than, you know, a minus 30 seconds, which is typically what the effect that a smoke has. Basically just says, no, you can't plant for the next 10 seconds, 3 times in the round. So Talon finding these early picks, it's been so pivotal. And now Guts, I mean, they are trailing behind, and I really feel like they need to find their footing here on one of these defenses. They'll return to kitchen service, which is the only bomb site they've been successful on thus far. But I think Talon are very keen to take this.
It's the only bomb site they've been successful on so far, but that was down to a mistake, a slip-up, an accidental fat fingering from Talon. Whatever you want to speculate it wasn't because Guts outplayed Talon in that round. And that's going to be weighing on them very heavily down on their shoulders as they come into this, because they know that if they don't win this round, Talon are suddenly on match point. And that's a very hard place to come back from, particularly when you are on the disadvantageous side of a specific map. Now, last time they were here, they lost the Legion and they lost the Vigil relatively early. If those are 2 operators they can keep up, maybe things will go different, but we have to wait and see.
Talon's early to mid round of gaining man advantage has been so good. It's not just on that previous round I mentioned where they had a 5v3 with 1:10 left, but also last time they attacked this bomb site, they took out Yura, who ran out Hookah aggressively. Talon were hyper aware of those runouts. And we also saw another pick elsewhere. I think it was Tamori. He just like wide swung from guitar and took out the player in theater, which was Crazy Papillon. Guts have a lot to improve on here on this defense, but for now they haven't gifted a pick. Talon's starting to clear out this roam, drone things out, and Crazy Papillon has no support here. He could just get 2v1'd and taken down.
Wouldn't be too dissimilar from what happened last time, and that's obviously going to be very frustrating for Guts if that is what happens. He does have to back out somewhat just to provide himself some protection, but he's holding on to the angle into the bathroom just in case. Out goes another goo mine, make that 2, just to hold back anyone who may aggress onto him. There's obviously soldiers just waiting right above the hatch.
Oh, it's an execute.
Well, yeah, well, there's the next EOD, and that's going to support them pushing into service as BD goes straight in for the plant, not wasting any time this time. The Light gets the first kill, but it looks like the diffuser's going to go all the way down. Okay, another smoke. Now suddenly Guts have got a challenge on their hands. They have to get 4 players. There's 1, make that 3 players if they want to be able to get the disable. The smoke from the attackers makes it so hard to see where any of these enemies might be, and the flash is thrown in, but there's a great kill onto PMW from Yura. Now only 2 players left, 20 seconds to go. Light begins with the disable, but Labyrinth is ready and waiting for them. He gets taken down eventually though, and it is all a bit of a mess here from Talon. Soldier desperately trying to get one he can, but Shu's going in for it. Is he gonna get it? Yes, he is! A double kill from Soldier to clutch out the round for Talon, and now they find themselves on match point.
What a stylish way to do it as well. The hip fire skeleton key wall bang double kill Talon, I was saying, look, this is really slow. They've started so many of these rounds with a 5v3 man advantage in relatively early fashion with lots of time to then decide what kind of an execute they're going to go for. This time, instead, they droned out Crazy Papillon holding in Penthouse, and of course, the Legion, after being droned out, he falls back a little bit, tries to play safer in theater. Talon are like, all right, guys, what we're going to do, someone's going to repel double window. That denies any kind of vertical play from the defenders onto the execute downstairs, and then we're just going to yeet sight. Just rush down in there. Everyone go in. Crazy, it was BD, forced down that plant. Tomorrow basically just ran in, kind of kamikaze style, like he died eventually, but he did his job, right? He didn't need to get any kills. He was just wasting time distracting Guts and enabled Talon to get that diffuser down. A really unusual strategy from Talon. Basically a rush plant. They just set everything up, went full send with 1:30 on the clock still. It took Guts by storm. It meant that all their roamers were far off site. They weren't expecting the rush. And even though Guts found that opening engagement and a lot of subsequent picks, Talon just had enough advantageous positions and enough players to clutch it out.
5 seconds to go.
And it was a great showing from Soldier as well, you know, someone who's been,
Attackers objective.
or has had eyes on him as he's obviously filling the void that Egg left when he left the roster. He was meant to be someone who had this potential to bring Talon forwards, to raise them up through the ranks. And that was something that was mentioned on the desk that Talon were really looking for. He had the right attitude, but can he perform? And so far in the first 2 play days here of Stage 2 in APAC North, the answer was no. He hadn't been performing. But today, actually, he's really showing his worth, and this is the Soldier that we want to see moving forward. I want to see if he can bring that out in this round, because that would secure Talon a very definitive win if he can.
It definitely inspires confidence if you look at Talon and you think, okay, the only attack round they've lost was that one that they basically threw, failing to stick that diffuser. If that's the only round they've lost, then, well, this has been a pretty dominant half. And if they had stuck that diffuser, then we'd be already over. It'd be 7-3 right now. Talon have 2-round buffer before we even consider the prospect of overtime. And I think they're going to close it out right here. It's Sunrise Blue Bar taken for Guts. This is an objective they haven't played so far in this matchup. And Talon just sussing out what kind of attack they're going to go for. They had a lot of players positioned around Sunrise, and now they rotate for Office and Aqua to try and clear this top floor and go for perhaps a Blue Bar execute.
Well, with Shu right underneath in Office, he's of course going to have to be cleared out, and the drone is going to catch him as he's holding onto the window. Actually, he does see the drone, so he knows he's been seen. And obviously with a C4, he could be a vertical threat, so it's imperative that he's taken down. But PMW is going to be the first one to be taken down as Yura secures that kill from himself. And that Lion, who's been so valuable to Talon, is now gone. Shu does get gotten rid of. So Talon can move in forward through this part of the map, but they don't have those E1Ds on their side.
4v4, but the big hitter from Talon has been taken out. It's PMW, who's been such a star this game. And Lily has some really good vertical angles. Thanks, Easy, our observer, for showing that. This inside of Drinks, or Pink, as you call it, looking down through the floor, can see that default plant spot, and Soldier's going to drone him out. Crazy Papillon in a really safe position. He is the smoke, and he can throw gas all the way from inside Sunrise Bar into blue, where that plant is no doubt going to come about. So Guts are actually in a pretty good position here, especially if Yura can keep fragging out. There is just no way Talon can execute with this setup right now.
Yeah, Yura is doing work, and now there's only 20 seconds left remaining. Talon is so close to taking this map, but they've been struggling in this round, and Guts may be able to hold on with a tenacity that allows them to fight on forward. BD's very low, but Labyrinth is actually the one to be taken down. He's going to go in for the plant regardless, as Soldier sends in fire to try and add protection. The plant does go down, but he doesn't last very long. Of course not. He had barely anything to hold him up, and that means the Guts quite comfortably will be able to take this round and hold themselves in the competition just that one round longer.
Critical round there for Guts, of course, on the edge of match point. And now we will see the full 12 rounds of regulation, as they call it. Guts has one last chance to take us on here, but I feel like Talon were a bit too slow there on that attack. 1 minute and 5, they had office control, which is great. You need office for a blue take, and they had control above the bomb site. Well, actually, they didn't have control of directly above the bomb site. We saw Lily was still in a good position to deny, but they had control of Aqua, which does deny some flanks. But critically, what Talon didn't have control of was Courtyard, and that's why we saw Yura able to roam in lobby, and with the way that that blue bar to Courtyard wall was opened up, if you want to go for a blue bar take, you just need so much control. And that's why we see those takes being incredibly unpopular these days, because there are so many ways for defenders to deny plant on that blue bar bomb site. From lobby, from Courtyard, from above, from Smokestone, all the way over from Sunrise. And that's why really last second, Talon decided, okay, guys, we just do not have enough control to go for this. There was a really quick last second rotate all the way over to Sauna for a Sunrise plant. But by that point, Talon didn't have enough players to cover, and they were just too low on time. Guts was able to pretty convincingly close that one out. But I still think Guts have the advantage. Sorry, Talon have the advantage here. This is going to be a rough slog for Guts to get back into it.
I think obviously one of the really big disasters that happened for Talon in that last round was the loss of PMW. And that was the first time that that really happened to them. So, assuming that it doesn't happen this time round, I don't think there's any reason to believe that Talon can't take this site. Obviously, they did it pretty well last time. They just kind of used the E1D, rushed straight into the site, wasted no time getting the diffuser down. They learned from their mistakes of the past. So Guts are going to be very aware of that and very prepared for something similar, I would suspect.
I think that's a good point. Talon had such a good round the last time they attacked this bomb site, but that's the kind of strategy that's not going to work more than once, because Guts are going to be hyper aware of you just rushing in, even as early as the 1:30 mark on the clock. So, in particular with Shu still alive, the smoke just can completely deny an aggressive strat like that. So, if Talon can pick off Shu relatively early, that'd be a huge pick. And it's something that Shu's really struggled with so far this game. Actually been an early pick, not necessarily the opening kill of the round, but an early pick for quite a few rounds now. And I'm looking at Talon to see how they can change their strategy to maybe do something a bit more thorough rather than just going full send, because I don't think it'll work this time.
And I think that's where a lot of that advantage comes in, because if Guts don't know entirely what it is they're going to do, then, ooh, is he going to get a kill here? He is finally. I honestly thought Crazy Papillon was going to get away with his life then, but of course PMW closes it out. He adds on with the E one day. Right now. It's disgusting what he is, but what he should be is a winner if he can keep it up. After this round, Soldier opening things up from above to get the angle into the site. Obviously, very infamous on this site. It can work pretty well. And there you go. He gets straight away the headshot onto Shu. You said he had to be cleared out early. You got your wish.
Yeah, such a pivotal pick. And once again, Talon in a position where it's 5 versus 3 with 1 minute left on the clock. Third time in a round we've seen that. Guts, well, they'll need to rely mainly on players like Yura and Lily to really step up. In fact, if anyone has really been stepping up this game on Guts, it's the 3 players who are left alive right now, and that bodes very well for them. But they're playing patiently right now. They know they need to tick away as much time as possible and then have some well-timed aggression onto these players. If Yura can take out PMW here, once PMW starts to aggress and smack that barricade, this could really help the chances of Guts making a retake happen.
Yeah, because you also have to be aware he's not the only one there in lobby, but he gets taken out from the stairs labyrinth with a 2K. Beautiful and perfect timing. Now only Light stands. He's on the site and he's watching service. That's a good first kill and the diffuser is down, but he has to be very vigilant of the remaining 4 players, none of whom have a drone, so they are flying blind, but Soldier's going to be going in for the plant. There's an impact. Doesn't actually affect anything. The second one finally does as Light collects a second, make it a third, but he can't make it a fourth. Talon Esports take the round and the map with Labyrinth closing things out.
A huge game there for Talon. Despite a few missed opportunities on their attack and defense, they close out a 7-5. Very well played on their attacking side, but I really think, Gio, that game was won on Talon's own defense, managing to start so strong and go 3-3 at the half. It was pivotal. And an absolutely disgusting performance from players like PMW, just mincing up Guts on the Lion. And well, that's a good game for the Koreans. They're back into it.
I think what's really nice about that, you mentioned how good PMW did stats-wise, but he wasn't even top of the scoreboard, which just goes to show that it's not always about kills that gets you the points. But one thing I will say is I suspect that if Talon do return to Coastline, other teams will be banning the Lion against them so that PMW can't do what he just did. But that was a fantastic game. It got close at some points, but Talon pulled through. Analysts, let us know what you think.
Talon indeed able to take it through.